Hello, I'm David Chaston with 90 at 9, brought to you by interest.co.nz. This week at everything you need to know in 90 seconds at 9 o'clock, with news sharply lower bond prices have tripped up the equities markets. Firstly, however, job growth rose slightly more than expected in the US in January to 200,000 in the latest non-farm payrolls report. At 88 straight months of job growth, that makes it the longest streak on record. Their unemployment rate has held steady at 4.1%, and their participation rate was also unchanged at a modest 62.7%. But there is sign that wages are growing faster now, up 2.9% above the same month a year ago, and the largest annual gain in more than 8.5 years. Markets take that as an inflation signal. Benchmark bond interest rates jumped. US 10-year is up 6 basis points to 2.84%. That makes the rise over the past week 18 basis points, getting everyone's attention. This bond sell-off is the largest since January 2014 and is now affecting equities. The S&P 500 was down 2% on Friday's session in Wall Street. In Japan, inflation may be about to get a new boost there too. Their unions are going after a 4% pay increase this year, rather than their usual demand for one-off bonuses. In the NAFTA renegotiation demanded by the US President, the Canadian Prime Minister says he will walk away from the $1.2 trillion arrangement if the US remains unreasonable. That would hurt, he said, but it would hurt the US more, and Canada has international options while the US has boxed itself out of those. In a clear sign of growing international trade, giant parcel firm UPS has ordered 14 more Boeing 747s and 4 767s worth $6.2 billion. None of these airplanes are replacements. All will extend their fleet for international cargo. Hong Kong house prices surged 14.8% in 2017 according to the data released late last week. That's 21 straight months of strong rises. And market analysts expect another 10% rise in 2018, with a strong stock market creating cash gains and supporting demand for properties. In Vancouver, prices rose 16.6% in December, as demand surged 19.4% from the same month a year ago. Demand has shifted from single detached homes to apartments and multi-unit homes, probably because the average detached house in the city is now worth more than $1.6 million. In Australia, a major national survey shows that lower-income households are having more issues paying their regular expenses. Things are getting worse in places like Melbourne and Adelaide, but are easing up in places like Sydney, Brisbane and Perth. US Treasury 10-year yield is up to 2.84%. US 2-year yield is holding at 2.15%. The Chinese 10-year is at 3.9%. That's down 3 basis points, and the New Zealand equivalent is 2.97%, down 2 basis points. Premiums between New Zealand and the equivalent US rates are getting very skinny. Local swap rates ended the week with a strongly positive yield curve, with the 2-10 curve now positive 111 basis points, and that's the steepest since April 2017. Gold is down to $1,332 an ounce in New York. That's down $16 from this time on Friday. And the oil prices are lower too, with the US benchmark now at just over $65.50 a barrel, while the Brent benchmark is just over $68.50 a barrel. And the Kiwi dollar is off its recent highs and now down to 73 US cents. On the cross rates are a little changed at 92.1 Aussie cents and 58.6 euro cents. That puts the TWI just a touch under 74, and the general level it's been for most of 2018. I'm David Chaston. That was 90 at 9, brought to you by interest.co.nz.